Truth Unveiled here, and today I have a ton to share with you. Today I want to talk about the elite and how they are leaving America and other cities, but also I want to talk with you about Joe Biden and Barack Obama and the meeting that they had with the Federal Reserve. Why would they have a meeting at such a time as this? So that and more to come. But I'm here at the Chicago Tribune, and it says millionaires are leaving Chicago, report says. Now, I know for many of you skeptics out there, you may be thinking, oh, that's nothing. Oh, that doesn't mean anything. I'm telling you, this goes much deeper than you think. But it says millionaires are leaving Chicago more than any other city in the United States on a net basis, according to a new report. This is what they want us to believe. About 3,000 individuals with net assets of over 1 million or more, not including their primary residents, moved from the city last year, with many citing rising racial tensions and worries about crime as factors in the decision, according to research firm New World Wealth. That represented about 2% of the city's high net worth individuals. Not only that, but first of all, this could be a big lie. It could be more. We don't know. But second of all, what's according to which research firm? New World Wealth, as in new world currency, new world order. Oh, it's starting to make sense now, isn't it? But let's keep going. Cities in the U.S. that saw a net inflow of millionaires included Seattle and San Francisco. And they could be lying about that, actually, because they know what's coming to these cities. Chicago was among 4 cities worldwide with the biggest flight of millionaires. Why are millionaires leaving to begin with? Not only that, but they know exactly what's coming to Chicago because it's been proven by Jeff Joe Black that what's coming to Chicago? A false flag event, a staged terrorist event that they're going to what? In order for them to lock down the city of Chicago. I've talked about this in many other of my videos about the protests and the riots that have been going on in Chicago and why they will not get rid of Rahm Emanuel. They have to keep Rahm Emanuel there because he fulfills the plan of the Jewish Zionists to lock down Chicago and declare martial law when a false flag happens in the city, which they're planning and have been planning. And it's not just Chicago, it's other cities as well. But that's why they're not going to get rid of Mr. Emanuel. I hope you're seeing that and I hope you know that. But it goes on to say Chicago's not the only one, because the French city lost 7,000 or 6% of its millionaires, so Paris, followed by Rome, which lost 5,000 or 7%. Why are all the rich and elite leaving these cities? And then Chicago was next, followed by Athens. Most of the millionaires who left Paris and Rome fled near countries, while Chicagoans moved elsewhere in the U.S., said New World Wealth, whose data is used by luxury goods companies, private banks, and real estate professionals, among others. Findings of the New World Wealth report are consistent with the Nielsen study related last year that showed Chicago is losing large number of affluent so-called African Americans because they're not really African. But it goes on to say the Nielsen report found that the Chicago area has fallen out of the top echelon of U.S. cities when it comes to the percentage of black households earning more than 100,000. In 2000, Chicago ranked 7th among the cities with the largest percentage of black households with income at that level or higher, but in 2015, Chicago had dropped out of the 10%. And of course, the country with the biggest net outflow of millionaires was France with 10,000, followed by China, Italy, India, and Greece. And of course, these nations are the nations with the biggest net flow of millionaires: Australia, US, Canada, of course, our favorite, Israel, or should I say the fake Israel, the UAE, and New Zealand. So very interesting and suspicious indeed. Oh, but it goes much deeper than that. Like I said, the question you should be wondering about is why? Why all of a sudden? Why are the elite moving to begin with? What do they know that we don't? And are they the ones planning it to begin with? Now, this is from Michael Schneider's The Economic Collapse blog, and it says, why are thousands of millionaires fleeing Chicago and other major cities around the world? Now, I'm not going to go into this because he talks mostly about the Chicago Tribune, which is what we've already talked about. But what I want to tell you, though, is that many of your lovely elite and government, they are not even in America anymore. They're already in bunkers worldwide, whether those bunkers are in Morocco, whether they're in New Zealand, whether they're in Iran. They ain't in America no more. Why? Because they getting ready for this economic collapse, which they're the ones who are going to stage. They're getting ready for planned civil unrest, and they're using the Gestapo military military Jade Helm police drills and operations in military police state dictatorship to get ready for this stuff. And they need to keep it as concealed as possible. And they're getting the elite into bunkers and mountains and other different places and hiding places to get ready for all of this stuff to happen, so that when America collapses, they will be the ones ready, even though they're the ones planning for it to begin with. But they don't want you to know this stuff because they want you to think, oh, everything's okay. The economy's gonna get better and the presidential elections are gonna go on. Life's gonna go on, blah, blah, blah. They want you to be in that mindset and trance so that when things do start to happen, you're going to be taken for a loop. What are they getting ready for? Economic collapse, banking glitches, bail-ins. Austria has already just done bail-ins for the first time. It's only a matter of time until it all comes to America. I've reported on how not only Syria and Crimea, but also Venezuela, they've been losing power and having power outages. They're testing these power outages. Why? So that they can bring them to America. The question is, are you ready for that? Are you ready to go without power? Are you ready to go without plumbing in your house? Are you ready for this stuff? And are you ready spiritually? Are you seeking Yahuwah and his true son Yahusha and following the Torah to the best of your ability? Because if not, this stuff will take you for a loop when it happens. And I'm telling you, people are going to go nuts when the EBT shuts off. People are going to go crazy when all of this stuff happens because they're not going to know what to do. But if you're in a spiritual mindset and you can see the warning signs ahead of time, then you'll know how to better prepare. I said you should always, always, always be ready ahead of time and see the warning signs ahead of time and see what's coming so that you will not be taken for a loop, so that you can better prepare you and your family for what's about to come. Now, this comes from All News Pipeline, and this was back in 2014. But the reason I'm showing you this is because I'm showing you actual proof and evidence that the elite have bug-out underground bunkers and cities prepared for major catastrophe. And the question is, why would they even be preparing for all this stuff to begin with? Why would they even be hiding out to begin with? And what's the bigger agenda behind all this? But this comes from All News Pipeline, and it says, with stories of missing food, recalls, government stockpiling of ammunition and weapons, which your lovely government has been doing, medication shortages, vanishing money, and missing gold, and more being buzzed about on the internet, one possible answer of where it is all going, who is hoarding it, and can be found over at the Bob Fletcher investigation website, which is where we're going to go later, a site I encourage everyone to go and browse around, and we will go there together in just a second. Now, I've done many reports on store closings and how so many stores and companies are closing their doors like never before. For example, Walmart has just closed over 200 stores, 269 to be exact, worldwide. Now, one has to wonder, why are they closing down these stores? Now, one theory, of course, in this one I believe, is that they're converting them into FEMA camps. You can watch my Walmart video for more and evidence on that. The second thing, too, is that they're taking all this merchandise and bringing it for the elite so that they can have it for when what? When unrest takes place, that the elite will already be set ready to go. We will be the only ones who will be suffering unless we prepare spiritually ahead of time and seek Yahuwah. But it goes on to say, while some may not agree with this ultimate conclusions of what the final catastrophe will be, the information provides on doomsday layers, underground facilities, bug-out locations, whole cities and tunnel systems, not only in the US but across the plane or world, makes it undeniable that the elite are preparing for an extinction level event using food, money, gold, and other necessities, all paid for by you, the taxpayer, because you're the ones funding all of this to begin with, just like you're funding that fraudulent space program called NASA, because taxes are unconstitutional. But let's keep going. They will be safe and cozy underground and protected, while those very same taxpayers are fighting to survive the aftermath of the expected catastrophe, because your government even has proven documentation of a zombie apocalypse, which they're getting ready for. I wonder who the real zombies are going to be, because when people don't have food and water for a week, they're going to go nuts. And for those of you who are asleep and don't want to believe that, I suggest you wake up and think again, because they've even tested ships that have been halted for the first time. Please wake up before it's too late, because it's only a matter of time. It goes on to talk about the Denver airport and the DIA, in which we're going to talk about a little little bit later so that you can see what's going on. But then the report goes on to show different videos, or so-called videos, of elite secret bunkers for catastrophe. Now, like I said, why would they have these bunkers to begin with? Even the book of Revelation talks about how they will be fleeing to the mountains in the time of the end. Is biblical prophecy being fulfilled in front of our faces? It looks like it. Now we're here at another article from All News Pipeline, and this is from May 2015, and it says, movement to the bunkers. They know it is coming. Elite actively practicing bug out scenario. And it says, on Friday night's Survive to Thrive show, the Hawk Spreads speaks about the recent notification given to pilots about the airspace in the DC, Virginia, and Maryland, where not only did NORAD announce test flights over the DC area, but as an insider source tells AMP, part of that practice was moving the elite to their bunkers in preparation of a huge event which would mandate their bugging out fast because, as our source tells us, they know it's coming. Why would they even need to be practicing and preparing for bug outs to begin with? Not only that, but your government has been preparing for that and staging these drills to prepare for that, so that when these things start to happen, your lovely president can go into the screen and say, oh my gosh, it happened. Oh my goodness, look out for ISIS. Oh my gosh, this terror attack. Oh my goodness, that terror attack. Oh my goodness, bring in FEMA. Oh my goodness, this and that, so that they can then run to their bunkers and be safe and hidden so that destruction can hit when it happens. But they have to be ready and get prepared ahead of time. And in other videos, I've talked about DUMBs, or the deep underground military bases, and why are they so important is because, one, that's where the elite are going to hide from all this stuff in chaos when it takes place. But not only that, these underground military bases, who else are there? The fallen angels are right there assisting the elite and your lovely government, and they're mostly all over the nation. They're just not seen. Just because it's hidden doesn't mean it's not there. And they're there for what? Because they're getting ready for the big agenda of New World Order martial law, when they finally shut down the nation. And these are so-called maps of the underground bases. As you can see, they all connect to Denver. Very interesting, as well as a lot in New Mexico as well. What are they hiding? What are they getting ready for? And it goes on to talk about how they're preparing for a major catastrophe. The warning signs are all around you. I hope you are seeing it for what it is. I'm going to leave this link below too so that you can see it. But now I want to take you to the actual list of the underground bunkers that we know of so far. Like I said, I know this is a lot, but I'm doing this because you all seriously need to see what is going on and what your elite are doing and are about to do. Now, this is the website Bob Fletcher Investigations that I said I'd take you to a little bit earlier ago, and he conducts a list of the different underground military bases and as well as bunkers that your elite have just so fervently prepared. Here's a list of many underground hideouts in America. Now, like I said, some of them could be real, some of them could be fake. There are probably many more that they're not telling us about, but you all need to see this stuff to see that it is here. It is even here. So we see that what they have places around the Denver airport, which we talked about, Area 51, which is said to be where the so-called aliens / fallen angels are, which is what your government's working with. Weather Mountain site, our Raven Rock, Camp David under the Capitol building. And like I said, when the New World Order is initiated in this lovely nation called America, Denver will be the de facto capital. Your military and your government are planning for that. Veterans cannot tell you that, though, because they signed the oath never to tell the secrets. They know exactly what they're doing. But let's keep going. We see old NORAD, and now a new hideout, no longer a military tracking center. The old one's Iron Mountain here for as long as the NORAD underground. See the pyramid? That lets you know. But it keeps going on. So here's an actual list. And like I said, a lot of the military bases, they're converting into these deep underground bunkers and stuff for the elite. Why would the elite even need to go there to begin with if everything was okay, if everything was just hunky-dory, as skeptics claim? Very interesting and suspicious indeed. So here are a list of the forts and the different underground bunkers and bases that they're going to. So we see that there are a total of 11, at least according to this, in Arizona. There's 2 in Arkansas. There are a ton in California. No surprise there. So we see the different bases here. Like I said, the question you should be wondering is, why? Why all this stuff, and why at such a time as this? And then we have some in Colorado as well. And of course, our favorite, the Denver airport. I know I'm kind of cruising through this. and also some in Connecticut, Florida, and Georgia as well. Georgia is also going to be a de facto capital for the New World Order on the east side because your government and military are also planning to split the Mississippi River in half, courtesy the San Andreas Fault Line, which they are going to split in half. You may not want to believe that, but that is just honestly the truth, and it's time to see the truth for what it is and not be blind to it or ignorant to the warning signs all around you. But they're also in Idaho, Indiana, Kansas, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Missouri, Nebraska, Nevada, and there are many more. So as we can see, and the whole purpose of this is to show you that there are so many underground bases and facilities and underground bunkers. And if you couple that with all the store closings and mall shutdowns and all the in the economy, which is staged and planned ahead of time, you start to wonder why all of this is going on. Everything starts to piece together, especially when you take into account that millionaires and billionaires in your lovely elite and the 3% Jewish Illuminati bankers have already left America and are not planning on coming back. I wonder why that is, but the list goes on. It even shows pictures, and it goes from there. And like I said, the question is why at such a time as this? Why right now? Why even prepare to begin with? And what we need to be thinking about is, what are they preparing for? What are they getting ready for? And why are the elites secretly doing this and secretly taking merchandise from these stores with them and taking it to these underground bunkers? What exactly are they getting ready for? What do they know that we don't? That should always be the question. But I'm here at Vivos, and the reason I'm at this website is because this website is that it gives you actual places and shelters and underground shelters that you can actually go to and pay for if you actually wanted to. And they have available shelters. As you can see, it costs about $35,000 for adults and $25,000 for children. Now, I don't know about you, but that's kind of steep when it comes per person that only the elite can afford. I wonder why that is. And if you want Europa One, Quantum Shelters, or even Vivos Trine, well, then you have to contact them for different prices. Very interesting indeed. And of course, these are the policies that they have. All this stuff is just very interesting. I just wanted to take you to this website so you can see, but also you see here a dot pointing to Puerto Rico. Very interesting and suspicious indeed, because they know what's coming to Puerto Rico. And I'll just give you a big hint. It's going to be the big meteor deception. You're going to think it's a meteor unless you're awoke right now. Now, there's one final thing I want to bring to your attention, and although this has nothing to do with the elite, it has to do with some very startling stuff that's been going on this past week, and I just wanted to keep you updated with it. But this is from Superstation 95, and it says, after emergency Federal Reserve meeting today, which was a couple of days ago, Obama and Biden to meet with Yellen. And of course, the rumor is martial law discussions for banking failure. They've been discussing that for a long time now, so it's no surprise. But it says the rumors swirling say martial law discussions over banking system failure are the reasons President Obama and Vice President Biden are to meet with the Fed. Mind you, this has never happened before, where both the president and the vice president have met with the Fed, Janet Yellen, who is also connected with Walmart. Very interesting and suspicious indeed. But it says, Chair Janet Yellen today after the Federal Reserve's emergency meeting this morning. In the history of the United States, and look at this, it has never before taken place that both the president and vice president meet unexpectedly with the Federal Reserve. Speculation is already following all over Washington, D.C. that it may have something to do with the survival of our government or the destruction of Washington, D.C. altogether in order to bring about the new world order. They know exactly what they're doing. But it goes on to say members of the House and Senate are said to have been up all night in discussions and meetings with floods of phone calls back and forth to talk about how they want to enslave us more and more, because they know we're waking up to their plans and actions, and so they have to keep talking about it in secret, how they want to enslave us more and more. Don't blame the Jewish Zionists. Keep Israel out of it, because we know what they're about to do and what they are funding. And it says all the leading bankers in the world will be in D.C. this week. Very interesting. And this Tuesday, the Chinese are scheduled to announce their switch from dollar to yen on Tuesday, April 19th. So next week, which will send about $2 trillion in cash back to the U.S. and send inflation skyrocketing overnight. Very interesting. Get your money out of the banks quickly because they're preparing for things we don't know when, but we know it's only a matter of time. Then the report goes on to talk about what's been going on, but there's also another story, full story, because they met again, not just one day, but even more than just that. Now, it wasn't enough for them to meet just on Sunday, but now they had to meet a couple of more times as well. What are they getting ready for? Why all the sudden meetings? And what does this have to do with the elite bugging out and bunking out? Because they're getting ready for the new world order, the phoenix rising, rising out of the ashes. It's all symbolism. But let's keep going. After Monday, which was yesterday's expedited closed-door meeting of the Federal Reserve Chair, Janet Yellen met with Obama and Biden in an extraordinary meeting. Then the Fed called another expedited meeting for Tuesday, April 12th, to discuss a bank supervisory matter, and now has called yet a third closed-door meeting for today, April 13th, over financial markets. What are they getting ready for, and why all the sudden meetings and everything? What are they getting ready for? Not only that, but we know the fraud of the Federal Reserve. They just print out fake money. But now they're not only conspiring to kill the dollar, they're conspiring for the new world currency, RFID chips, surveillance, mandatory surveillance, the new world order, so that they can spy on you every which way you go, because you could be deemed a terrorist even if you're watching this video right now. Oh, but they don't want you to know that, even though government documents prove it. You can watch my FEMA videos for that for more. So what is the purpose of this? What do you need to do? Please seek Yahuwah and his true son Yahusha, because time is running out. It's only a matter of time until they start showing us and revealing to us the bigger plans. The end is here. But I'm keeping you updated. This is Truth Unveiled. Shalom.